Hey, what is going on, guys? We are back ranking Team Affinity cards. Today we are going to be finishing off 1 through 14. I decided to break the video up into two parts. Before we get started, just a reminder that I will be live on Twitch later on today, so be sure to follow me at TTV Beanie Antics on Twitch. And yeah, we'll have a good time tonight. No more videos coming out today because I overslept once again, but I figured that it was pretty easy for me to get this video out for you guys today, and then we'll be back with two more tomorrow. So yeah, I will see you guys then. At 14, we have the 89 overall Matt Olson. Big problem, plays first base once again, but the big separating factor with this card over some of the other ones is that he has monstrous power and he is elite defensively, one of the best defensive first basemen in the game. He's kind of like Matt Chapman in that regard, another A's corner infielder. He's great defensively and has a ton of power. That has a lot of value. If you're looking for an early game first baseman, give this guy a look because he could have a lot of value to your team. At 13th overall, we have Rafael Devers. Absolutely crushes right-handed pitching, is okay versus lefties, doesn't have as much power, but he's also fairly competent defensively. He plays third base, so that he's a lefty, so you could throw that in your lineup if you're in need of one. He's not going to be great for you defensively, but he's going to be fine. He's also kind of the same against left-handed pitching, but against righties, he is going to be one of the best hitters on your team, and that's why he comes in at number 13. At number 12, this was a bit of a surprise to me, but we have the 85 overall Trey Mancini, one of the best hitting players in this Team Affinity set. He's just very, very balanced, hits righties and lefties both very well, has solid vision, and then the thing that really bumped this card up was his defense. He is not terrible defensively. 74 fieldies, 74 reaction. He does have a very poor arm, but you could stick him in left field, maybe take a bit of a defensive hit, but kind of hide that arm a little bit. Maybe stick him at first base where you can really hide that arm and get that power and contact into your lineup. Thought about putting this guy much lower, but I just couldn't justify it given how balanced he is at the plate and just how good he is at the plate. I couldn't really justify putting Justin Turner a whole lot higher on this list just because he doesn't have the power versus righties that a lot of people are looking for, and he's also not just unbelievable defensively. But overall, this card is probably one of my favorites in the entire set for a couple of reasons. One, he can play anywhere in the infield, first, second, short, or third. And he is just a phenomenal hitter. He has fantastic vision. He has, his power isn't amazing versus righties, but it's fine. But again, everything else is just elite. 92 contact, 110 contact, 92 power versus lefties, good discipline, good vision, good clutch. He is just an all-around phenomenal hitter. You know, you'll be taking a hit defensively somewhere, but he is going to be able to competently play second, short. I mean, if you're wanting a big stick shortstop or a big stick second baseman, this Justin Turner card might be your card, and that's why he comes in at number 11. At number 10, we have the 88 overall Josh Bell, and this guy gets a big boost because he is a switch hitter who has power versus both lefties and righties. Not as good a contact versus lefties, but that's fine. He's got some nice vision, good contact versus righties. Big drawback with this card is that he is a first baseman, and he is not a good fielder at all. He does have a secondary in right field, which adds a bit of value to him, could make him more appetizing and battle royale or something like that, but I don't know if you want to get stuck with that defense, especially with a secondary penalty with him in right field. He would be very, very bad out there, and defense is going to be immensely important this year. I don't want you guys to underrate that. But the fact that he has a ton of power and he is a switch hitter gives him a ton of value. Really like this card. He is going to be one of the guys that I go for early just because I like switch hitters with big power. At number 9, we have Shohei Ohtani, and there are a lot of things that I like about this card, but the big thing is just how unique he is. He is a righty pitcher that is an absolute flamethrower, doesn't have the outlier quirk, which is unfortunate, but he's still going to be throwing in the upper 90s, has a nice splitter, slider, curveball, good pitch mix, good K per 9, decent hit per 9. His stuff is incredible, but then the big separating factor is the fact that he absolutely mashes righties as well. So if you throw this guy into your rotation, you're also going to have him available to pinch hit for you. Given how pitching works this year, the way you pick your pitchers and everything, maybe you could use him as more of a pinch hit slash bullpen arm, like a long reliever type of bullpen arm, and then just rotate through 4 starting pitchers, maybe use openers from elsewhere in your bullpen. This guy is just like the ultimate utility player. Yeah, you can't play him out in the field without taking probably a pretty big penalty hit, since I don't think he has secondaries, at least not this card. But other than that, you're going to have a big stick to pinch hit with. You're going to have a really good pitcher to come out of your bullpen or your starting rotation. And yeah, I love everything about this card, and I don't think I could justify, given just how valuable that utility is, don't think I could justify keeping him out of the top 10, even though his attributes may not be quite as good as some of the other players on this list. Number 8, we have the 86 overall Yoan Moncada. Being a switch hitter that plays a relatively premium position with the capability of playing second base adds a lot of value to this card, but he also has a ton of power versus right-handed pitching, decent versus lefties. His contact anyway, his power isn't as good. He's solid defensively, has a good arm, can play really anywhere in the infield. If he had the secondary at short, he could play there, but he doesn't. But at second base, it'll definitely play. At third base, it'll play. Decent speed, not as good as I would have hoped for a Yoan Moncada card. I think he's a bit faster than 66 speed, probably with 34 stealing, but that's beside the point. He's a great hitter. He's a switch hitter, which always adds value, and he comes in at number 8. At number 7, we have the 89 overall Blake Snell, and this is coming from personal experience. I have faced this Blake Snell in Battle Royale, and he had a very deceptive delivery. He was kind of hard for me to pick up. He had good speed differentials on his pitches. He threw hard. He had great per 9s. This is one of the better mid-tier diamond pitchers in the game right now. He's very tough. If you're looking for a starter, this is the guy that I would target. You know, that it won't take a ton of hours to acquire or anything like that. I think that this is a very appealing card at this point. He's got a lot going for it, and that's why he comes in as the top pitcher, but number 7 on this list. Now we're starting to get into the big time super valuable players. At number 6, number 6, we have the 88 overall Gleyber Torres. Just an absolute monster at the plate. 90 plus power versus both sides, 80 plus contact versus both sides, 70 vision. He's a solid defender, not great, not ideal for shortstop, but good enough at shortstop. Can play second base, can play third base, doesn't have speed that you want out of a shortstop, but that bat is just too good, and that's why he comes in at number 6. At number 5, we have Juan Soto, just an absolute tank versus right-handed pitching. 100 power to go with 90 contact, and versus lefties, 88 contact to go with 77 power. Vision is adequate at 70. Elite discipline, and discipline is more important this year than it has been in the past because it's harder to check swing. He's also not as bad as you would think defensively, with 70 fielding, 68 reaction to go with 63 speed. He's going to be adequate in left field. He has 71 arm strength, so you don't necessarily have to hide his arm. He can make the throws in, hold runners at first, maybe throw out the occasional base runner at home if your opponent makes a mistake. Just an elite card all around. A lot of people are going to disagree with this pick, but I picked it for 2 very particular reasons that I'm sure you guys are aware of. It is the 88 overall Carlos Santana from the Indians. He is a switch hitter who can play catcher. That is exceptionally valuable. Now, some people might not want to put him at catcher, but if you can eat that defensive penalty that he will take at catcher, then he is going to be one of the best hitting catchers in the game for you at the start of the year, considering that he is a switch hitter. He has 70 contact versus righties with 83 power, 96 86, 83 versus lefties, 86 vision, fantastic discipline. He is an absolute balanced tank at the plate. He's going to be phenomenal. He is going to be a BR beast for you. I definitely would play him the catcher in BR. Maybe you could argue in ranked seasons it's not worth it. You can find better defense with adequate hitting numbers, maybe. But this is going to be a guy that I definitely go after. At worst, I'm going to put him on my bench as a platoon option at 3 different positions. He's just too valuable of a card for me not to go after, and that is why he comes in at number 4. At number 3, Carlos Correa. He does not have a trash can perk that will boost his attributes, but other than that, this card is just a monster. Great power versus righties, great contact versus lefties, and then adequate, the opposite of that, power versus lefties and contact versus righties, mid-70s in both instances. He has an absolute cannon of an arm at a premium position at shortstop, and he's adequate defensively. Not super blazing fast or anything, but his speed isn't terrible. Great discipline. Vision is at 67. That's adequate this year, not as important as it has been in the past. He has some nice little quirks to go along with him. I think you can make an argument that I should maybe flip him and Gleyber Torres, but I think the cannon of the arm and, I just think, in my opinion, this card is a little bit more dynamic than that Gleyber is, even though they are more similar, and that Gleyber is probably a slightly better hitter than this Correa card. I just really like this card. Massive controversy. How could this card not be number 1? The 89 overall Joey Gallo. Believe me, I considered putting this card at number 1 because, my God, look at this monster. His power is just inconceivable. Nobody gives a shit about Joey Gallo's vision because he has so much power. If you get your PCI even close, he's hitting 450-foot bombs for you. His contact, who cares? He's a monster at the plate. He carried me through all 3 of the esports tournaments that I participated in, all the way to the final round of 32. Another great thing about this card, he can play so many different spots on the field. He can play center field, he can play corner outfield, he can play corner infield, either one of them. He is just a utility stud. And then on top of that, he is elite defensively. He has an absolute rocket of an arm, 99 arm strength, 97 arm accuracy, reaction very good, 85, fielding very reliable, 86. This guy is just an absolute stud. Definitely could argue that he should be the number 1 player. I wouldn't argue back too hard, but this next card that I'm about to talk about was just barely edged him out in terms of his just overall 5-tool stud ability. And let's go ahead and reveal the number 1 pick. It is the 88 overall Fernando Tatis. And this might be a bit controversial because he's not as good of a defender or a hitter as the Gleyber Torres. He's not as good of a defender as the Carlos Correa. Well, I mean, they're about on par. The arm accuracy might hurt the Tatis a little bit, but the fact that he has 89 speed, he is blazing fast. Not a huge stolen base threat with a 36 stealing, but I think that if you were kind of tricky, you could sneak some stolen bases in there with this card. But he's going to be hitting a lot of doubles, a lot of triples, a lot of home runs with that 85-79 power. He's just a stud across the board. This is the only card that is like 80 plus in all of the attributes that really matter. The only kind of sort of downside with this card is the low vision, but like I said earlier in the video, I don't think that's as important as it has been in the past with the new PCI changes. I love everything about this card. I think that either this card or the Gallo should be the first card that you target in the Team Affinity program, and hopefully they have good cards coming out in the spring, summer, and fall, because I'm going to be heavily invested in both the Rangers and the Padres in the next few months, because these cards are just too good to resist. Maybe you get the Tatis and the Glaber and you put one of them at second base and the other one at shortstop. They do have those extra positions that they could play, so there's an idea. But both of them are great, but this Tatis is just a 5-tool stud. So yeah, that is it. That is my list. What do you guys think? I think there are going to be some controversial picks in here, some guys that you think I need to move up or down, but for the most part, I think this is pretty accurate. I don't think anybody's going to be arguing that this Joey Votto is better than the Joey Gallo. I don't think anybody is going to be arguing that or anything dumb like that. So yeah, please like this video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on Twitter at Beanie Antics. Follow me on Twitch at TTV Beanie Antics. Yeah, I will be streaming later tonight. I will see you then. But until then, peace.